We are Mike and Taylor, and these are our dogs, Penny and Lucy. We sold our home and nearly everything we owned, moved aboard a 40-foot boat, and sailed from Seattle. This is the story of us making our way. Welcome back, friends. We've been tied to a dock for the last 4 weeks in Chiapas, Mexico, just a few miles north of the Guatemalan border, waiting for our autopilot to make it to us so we can begin the installation and then set sail to Costa Rica. Mike's already been working to move the components of our old system. Even though it does malfunction, we've decided to keep it as a backup for VIA. But yesterday, the new system finally arrived, which means one of the most epic boat projects we've ever taken on is about to begin.
Well, autopilot install day is upon us. I woke up today and it's the first cloudy, rainy day we've had. It rained a little bit last night, but it's the first time we've actually woke up to light rain and some thunder, so that's a little different. I thought maybe I'd kind of show you just what we purchased for the new autopilot. We decided to go with pretty much all B&G, Simrad, all Navico stuff, mostly because that's what our plotter and existing wind instruments are. So even though different brands should talk to each other, sometimes they don't do a great job of it. So we decided to kind of stick with all that. It's the closest thing to plug and play that we'll get. Closest thing to plug and play that we'll get. Plug and play. Plug and play. So here we've got our autopilot RAM. We ended up going with a Garmin unit. The Garmin unit is the same thing as the B&G T2. The only difference is this proprietary connector. I'm just gonna probably end up cutting it off, which will void the warranty. But the cool thing is I got it for I think $800 less than the T2 would have been from B&G. And other than this connector, it's basically the same thing. Here's the rudder sensing unit, and here's the NAC-3 autopilot computer, Precusion-9 compass. This is going to be the new Triton display, autopilot controller. I got an extra drop cable, a couple of T connectors for the NEMA network, and then some extra electrical connections and a spool of wire to run power over to this thing. So it's a bunch of different parts, and hopefully I can get it all to work. All right, onward.
5 minutes later.
Unfortunately, this will not just quite be a plug-and-play situation. The main reason being the new autopilot RAM. The difference is the old one has a longer stroke. It has a 13-inch stroke, and the new one they only make with a 10-inch stroke. I think both of those are probably exaggerations. So that's a problem because I either have to change where the new one is mounted on the tiller arm. Either has to go closer in towards the rudder post because of the shorter stroke, or I have to limit the movement of the rudder, otherwise it'll exceed the reach of the new RAM, and that can damage the RAM. So I'm trying to decide what to do. Not just a drop-in system. Switching over to the rudder sensing unit mount. All right, check it out. Check this out. I got the mount mounted for the rudder sensing unit. I think it's really solid. Just holding it in place so I can drill the holes that'll actually hold the screws that'll have it mounted to the wall. So. Welcome to day 2. I feel like I really didn't get anything done yesterday. I don't know, there's just not much to show for it. I figured out where the new autopilot needs to get mounted and figured out that I need to take the tiller to the machine shop and get a new pin machined. Started to kind of figure out where the rudder mounting unit is gonna go, and started to figure out where I guess all the screens are, or how they're gonna get mounted. Tiller, one of the guys from the yard here is gonna pick me up on his motorcycle, and we're gonna go into town to the local machine shop. So this is the tiller arm. The pin is going to have to go like here. It's got to be a little closer to the rudder post goes, you know, this attaches to the rudder post here. Pin needs to move in about an inch or a little more because of the shorter stroke on the autopilot ram. And then it should be ready to mount. Then the other snafu is the new screens from B&G are substantially larger. This is our nav pod mount. The backs of the new screens take up a lot more room, so I have to like enlarge these, and it's going to interfere with my mounting holes. I don't know. A lot of different things, but essentially the boat's just a mess and nothing's happened. Off to the machine shop. Taking a break in front of the air conditioner. I'm gonna go cut a hole in the boat. So, mounting template for the base of the new ram. Since it's gonna be closer like back, so that because of the shorter stroke, I'm gonna have to notch out a piece of that little wall there. Jumping all over the place, but next up I'm gonna install the compass. Got to be away from like any major like current carrying cables, large ferrous metals, like away from the engine, away from the autopilot motor, anything that's going to be carrying a large current or have an electromagnetic field. In the closet here will be perfect. It'll kind of live up in the corner.
Left our boat to come to the pool here, let the kids run around, and apparently it's a very, very high tide right now. Look at this. It's totally flooded over. Yeah, the ramp goes up to the dock, and the boats are just about higher than land right now.
Crazy.
That is crazy. I know. Extreme high tide.
Day 3 of our autopilot install. I feel like I'm finally making some good progress. Day 1 was a lot of just like measuring things and figuring out like exactly where things were gonna go. But yesterday I feel like I got some stuff done. So I got the tiller arm and bolt over to the machine shop. I should be able to pick that up sometime today. I got our gauges mounted and I got the compass mounted. I kind of had to cut out that big notch for the autopilot and probably a couple other things I'm forgetting. But anyway, I'm gonna start by getting this mounted on the binnacle. It's all in. Hope it works. The best place for the new autopilot computer is right where the old autopilot computer is. And Taylor's looking at me through the window. Hola.
What are you doing?
Filming stuff. Trying to explain what I'm doing. But it's too hot.
Story of our lives. Welcome to making our way.
It's too hot for
I don't know what we're doing, but we're gonna try to explain it.
Also, this heat just makes my brain not fire. What are you doing?
Bye.
As I was saying, I'm gonna go take a pool break to cool off. God, it's just brutal today. Whew.
Sounded like it hurt. know. It's often warmer.
Welcome back to VIA and day 4. I got our tiller arm back from the machine shop. They did a great job. Now I gotta put the ram in, attach it. I'm a little worried that the old pin might interfere with the new one, so that might have to come out. No big deal. And then gotta make sure that the height of the tiller arm works for the ram. So you want it to be pretty darn close to horizontal. Well, we've run into a little bit of a snag. It's really important that the thing that stops the rudder from swinging is the rudder stops. So here's our steering quadrant, and this piece of stainless steel up here, that's the rudder stop. So when the rudder gets all the way hard over, that metal block right there runs into the stainless steel rudder stop. So like it needs to hit the rudder stops and not have the hydraulic ram be the thing that's like stopping it. So the hydraulic ram only has 10 inches of travel, and currently as the arm swings through the arc, we're getting like just a tiny bit more than that. So moving those rudder stops is like super not easy. So I think what I'm gonna do is pull one of the rudder stops and try to add like a plate to the front of it. Maybe like a piece of starboard or something. That's my thought. So that'll reduce the travel of the rudder just a little bit.
In order to determine how thick the addition of the piece of starboard needs to be without cutting our rudder's range of motion down beyond what was necessary, some math was in order.
So I know my radius is about 213 millimeters. I know the ram has a 10-inch stroke, and we're exceeding that by the smallest fraction. I figure maybe about 1/4 of an inch. So I'll put in 10.25, and it tells me that given those numbers, we're seeing a central angle of 75 degrees. It also tells me that the arc length, which is like how long that arc is 11.02 inches. So using this, I can kind of figure out how much I need to reduce the length of that arc in order to get us down to a stroke of less than 10 inches. So enter 9.5, keeping the radius the same. That brings us down to about 70 degrees, 69 degrees rudder angle, and we're down to about a 10.1 arc length. So that means I need to reduce that arc length by 1 inch. Oh, wait a minute though. That's not right, is it? Because my radius is close enough. Numbers aren't exactly right, but it's close enough.
What?
See, I'm talking to you in the camera in the future, and I'm talking to you right now in your face.
It's like Inception.
It is like a dream within a dream.
Both rudder stops got an exact amount of starboard added to the front of the plates to bring our drive length and arc length into harmony. While Mike spent the afternoon drilling holes through 5 millimeters of stainless, I took advantage of endless water and got some much needed deep cleaning done for inside the boat.
Decided to shift gears for a little bit, and one issue that we have is we've got no more room on our breaker panel. So I picked up a little 3-switch breaker panel, and I think I'm going to add that in. Since I'm leaving the old AUTOPILOT computer in, I need to run the new AUTOPILOT on a new circuit. And it also requires a 30 amp fuse, or a 30 amp breaker, which we didn't have. This guy is gonna go there, and then I'm gonna move some of these circuits, and that'll make room for my new breaker. So I gotta cut a hole again. the old autopilot computer. I just gotta unhook all the wires. I'm gonna remove it. I think I'm gonna put it maybe on the inside of this bulkhead wall thing. Alright, I got the old autopilot computer remounted and wired up in there. I think I'm ready to mount the computer, the new computer. Kind of get a few more things done here, so. Day 6. Bigger, a little bit of a bigger project than I thought, but we're making progress. So this morning, first thing I'm doing is just testing our NEMA network. All right, here's our autopilot computer. You can see all my wires going in there. I still have to wire in the rudder sensing unit. All I'm doing is testing resistance. So this cable is the N2K network, the NEMA network. And I got my little multi-tester here set to test ohms, which is measure of resistance. We should have about 60 ohms of resistance across the NEMA network. Just between these white and blue wires here. Let's see what we get. Hard to do this with one hand. Look at that. Almost exactly. Oh, yeah, there it is. So that looks good. So yeah, we're getting there.
Next on the list was converting the RAM's proprietary connector into a terminal block, which, once complete, would make the RAM just about ready to mount and install.
Alright, so I've just swapped this old 4-pin connector and just separated all the wires. Alright, next tricky bit, the rudder sensing unit. And what's tricky about it is it needs to be mounted perfectly in line with the center of the rudder post, and then it also needs to be almost perfectly kind of horizontal with the tiller arm. Doing that is kind of hard because I can't really get in and around where the rudder post is, and so like I'm always at a weird angle trying to figure it out. So this is going to be the mount for the rudder sensing unit. It's going to kind of sit like this. So what I did was I have this laser pointer thing. It's actually one of those things to like measure rooms using a laser, but I'm going to mark the center of the rudder post. I can measure it and then just mark the vertical center of the rudder post, and then I can turn on the laser pointer and slide this thing along the wall until I see the laser hit my center point mark, and then I'll know that that's in line with the rudder post. So yep, see how it works.
This trick worked like a charm, and once the exact locations were determined with the laser, the homemade rudder sensing unit mount was affixed to the bulkhead, and onto that, the rudder sensing unit was mounted and wired in.
Well, it's day 7. I can't believe it's taken 7 days. There's enough like modifications and fabricating things that it just is taking forever. But the good news is we're getting down to it, and the only things left really are to drill the holes and mount the RAM. So the little like spacers that I put on the rudder stops have reduced the travel enough that we can go ahead and mount.
Well,
I think I've done it. I think it's done. The install. I'm so sweaty.
High five, Mike.
Only took 7 full days. 8 to 10 hour days.
Well, it takes a lot of time to find the screws that you drop in the bilge.
Oh, that was half of the day.
Yeah.
So we'll actually turn it on tomorrow. I don't have it in me to.
No, we'll do it tomorrow. It's time to eat some food. Sun is going down. Nice job, Mike. Wow. What a project.
Yeah, that was freaking complicated. If I turn it on tomorrow.
Well, let's cross that bridge when we get to it.
After passing its dockside trials with flying colors, it was time to go out to open water for the sea trials and put this new system to the test.
Pretty happy so far.
Nice work, Mike.
Appears to be working.
Not only was it working, but in just the short sea trial, it was already working better than our old system ever did, by orders of magnitude. Days of customizing, modifying, layers of problem solving, half of which did not even make it into this video, and Olympic-level boat yoga in truly oppressive heat had finally paid off. I just wanted to take a second to give a public shout out to Mike for the AUTOPILOT project. That was easily one of, if not the most complex and difficult projects and challenges that we've had to do for the boat. And Mike did it all on his own. The amount of research, I mean, I saw him doing like cosines and tangents to calculate, I mean, like, absolutely incredible. Every single piece, just about, I think, every single piece of the install required customization, some really specific problem to figure out. Like, nothing was plug and play in this install. It was incredibly complex, and Mike did it, and it's just like insane. Like, I don't even understand how he did it, but he did it. And so he just did such an incredible job, and because of his really dedicated like 8 days of working on this, we are now able to actually wait for a weather window, or look for a weather window to begin with, and start actually preparing to leave Chiapas. Anyway, I just wanted to, do a public hat tip to Mike and his dedication and his brains and everything that went into making this AUTOPILOT fix and install possible, and ultimately making our departure possible and everything else possible. So, yeah. It's pretty awesome. Well done, Mike. It was a doozy of a project, but he did it. Join us next time as we check off a few last-minute tasks, check out of Mexico, finally push off the dock, and set sail to Costa Rica.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
I thought maybe I could. Oh, fuck. Oh, right here. See it? So now let's just make sure that the base of our ram fits. I am in the dark. I can't with this anymore. For now, though, gonna mount. Oh my god. Oh my god. What even is this? Shit is so hard to film. I honestly don't know how people do it. Boat yoga. Ugh. What the hell? Where did this go from? No. What the hell? Ow! Ow, my head. Oh my god, there's so much sweat dripping into my eyes I can't see. Now I just gotta run wires and secure the wires. And then I can put the cover on. And then I can mount the new AUTOPILOT computer. Yeah.